opinion, neither of them should have been called. And there's a bunch of other differences to get into as well. Let's start with the plays themselves. Paige, this is what she got the technical for at the time, the clapping technical that she received that was rescinded. The reason this is different, as you can see, there is no player interaction here.
Suddenly, this clip was everywhere online, and nobody could believe what they were seeing. Two big-name players did almost the exact same thing on the field. But the outcome? Worlds apart. One walked away clean, no consequences at all. The other got slammed for it, right there in front of millions watching at home. And that's when fans started asking the real question. Was this just a bad call, or something deeper? Was the league actually playing fair with everyone? For a lot of supporters, this wasn't a new doubt. It was the moment that finally confirmed what they'd been thinking all along.
Clark, after the game, she says, what she said about it. We've all seen this quote by now, but let's play it again.
And pick up the tech tonight, 5th of the season.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I got a technical for clapping. So, if we should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for if I'm going to get technicals for clapping. I asked Gerda. Gerda said that I got a technical for clapping. So, if any technical should be taken away, it should be that one. If it's truly for clapping, that's what they said they gave it to me for was for clapping. So it's just ridiculous. I don't understand it at all.
So even within that, though, how aware do you have to be of the 8 technical fouls?
It all kicked off with Paige Bueckers. Mid-game, she got hit with a technical foul for clapping. That's it. No shouting match, no shoving, no drama with another player. Honestly, it was such a tiny moment that nobody would have even blinked if the whistle didn't go off. But here's the twist. The league actually looked back at it, admitted they got it wrong, and wiped the foul off the books. Great news for Bueckers, sure. But it left fans with one nagging question. If hers got fixed this fast, why doesn't everyone get the same treatment?
I'd love to know, but obviously, that's what I went to Gerda and said. I said, why'd you give me a technical foul? She said, because I was clapping and instigating. I said, okay, then you just don't like competitive basketball. And that's just facts. That's just reality. So disappointing from them.
So, the instigating part would be their defense for the technical. But again, in the context of that is such a nothing that I just don't see how that warrants a technical when everything else was going on personally. But it's not the same as what Paige did. Now, what also wasn't the same was Paige's coach after that game said, I'm not going to say anything about that because I don't want to get fined, which is calling it BS.
Now flip the script. Enter Caitlin Clark. Her technical came at the worst possible time, right in the middle of a tense, chaotic moment on the court. What did she actually do? Just clapped, trying to pump up her team, get the crowd going. That's the whole story. But this time, unlike Bueckers, the call stuck. The refs said she was instigating, even though the real confrontation was happening somewhere else entirely, nowhere near her. And Clark was left standing there, frustrated, confused, probably thinking the same thing every fan watching was thinking. Why me?
Right or wrong, that should be the point. But it is in relation to what's next. One of the most famous basketballers on the planet emphatically declared she was wrong and that anyone who disagrees more or less doesn't appreciate competitive spirit. The appeal will follow. An otherwise forgettable dust-up thus becomes a test of how Caitlin Clark and the few others like her can bend the WNBA to her will. When has Caitlin Clark ever bent the WNBA to her will the way she's been officiated? In fact, the complete opposite is much closer to true. The complete opposite is much closer to true. I mean, you go back, and this clip was surfacing yesterday. This is Diana Taurasi and Sophie Cunningham when Cunningham was on the Mercury.
Suddenly, the whole situation turned into something way bigger. Bueckers clapped completely alone, away from any action, and the league eventually admitted the call was a mistake. Clark, on the other hand, clapped right in the thick of a tense moment. And this time, the technical stayed on the books. Right after the game, Clark walked up to her coach, Stephanie White, and shared what the referee told her. The technical came down to one thing: clapping. Nothing else. And honestly, you could feel how baffled she was by it. Now fans are stuck on the same burning question. If a simple clap can get you flagged, then where exactly does the league draw the line?
So she says it directly. Mine's going to be rescinded. The player voted to go to the WNBA, who is beaming with pride about her team leading the league in technicals. She celebrated for her competitiveness and her competitive fire. Caitlin Clark is some sort of brat, right? Skylar Diggins is another player who is celebrated for being fired. I saw Natasha Cloud rip something off the wall or whatever the other day. Nobody crashed out about it. And then there are the officiating cases that, Caitlin Clark and her coach, frankly, have a reason or should be crashing out about. I don't know whose video this is. I saw it on the timeline. It was credited to ESPN Ben. So if
Something didn't add up, and Caitlin Clark wasn't staying quiet about it. Right after the game ended, she came out and said exactly what was on her mind. She called the whole decision ridiculous. She even joked, half laughing, half serious, that if clapping is now enough to get flagged, she might as well start marking her future suspension dates on the calendar right now. That's how absurd this felt to her. But underneath the joke was a real frustration. She wasn't asking for special treatment. She was asking for one simple thing: consistency. Because here's the part that stung the most. Players who were actually involved in the physical confrontation, the real pushing and shoving, walked away with nothing. No technical, no penalty, nothing. And Clark, she got hit with one for clapping. The officials called it instigating. But anyone who watched the replay saw something completely different. A player trying to hype up her team, nothing more. And the closer you look at that moment, the stranger the whole thing gets. This wasn't some calm, quiet play. There was real tension on the floor. Players were squared up, face to face, the kind of moment where officials get nervous a fight might break out. In the middle of all that chaos, Clark reacted, not by getting in anyone's face, not by pushing anyone, but by clapping. It looked exactly like what it was, a teammate stepping up and Clark cheering her on, firing up the crowd for a split second. That's it. That one quick clap is what earned her the technical. Now here's where people started connecting dots that made this whole thing feel even messier. This isn't the first time contact calls in this league have looked inconsistent. There's been an ongoing argument that the level of contact Clark has to endure on defense, getting bumped, grabbed, knocked around, never seems to get the same whistle that other players get when far less happens to them. So when people saw her get punished for something as harmless as a clap, while real contact on the floor gets ignored, it reignited a conversation that had already been simmering for a while. And that raises an obvious question. How exactly is one player supposed to be controlling how an entire league gets officiated? Because that's basically what critics were suggesting, and it didn't sit right with a lot of fans watching this unfold. Then something else came out that made the story even bigger. It turned out Paige Bueckers didn't just get lucky when her technical got wiped off the record. She had backup. A respected veteran player, someone deeply involved with the Players Association, reportedly stepped in on her behalf. She gathered video evidence, brought it straight to the league office, and made the case that the call was flat out wrong. And the league listened. They reviewed it, agreed it was a mistake, and erased it. Just like that. But when people looked for that same kind of support behind Clark, they came up empty. There was no veteran stepping in, no one presenting evidence on her behalf, no pressure campaign pushing the league to take another look. And that gap started raising a much bigger question. Is this really just about basketball plays and referee judgment? Or does it come down to who has power in the locker room and who doesn't? A lot of fans started wondering if experienced, well-connected players simply have stronger safety nets, while newer stars, even massive ones like Clark, are left to fight these battles completely on their own. The coaches' reactions made this contrast even sharper. When Bueckers got her technical, her coaching staff didn't sit quietly. They were careful about how they worded things publicly, sure, but their message was crystal clear. They believed the call was wrong, and they backed their player completely. They pushed. They advocated. And eventually, it paid off. Compare that to what happened with Clark. Her coach, Stephanie White, didn't come out swinging against the officials. There was no public pushback, no strong statement demanding a review. And to a lot of fans, that silence spoke volumes. Because here's the thing about officiating in any sport. When a coach pushes back hard, officials sometimes feel pressure to slow down and reconsider. But when there's no pushback at all, there's no pressure. The call just stands. No one fights it. No one questions it out loud. And so it stays on the record, no matter how questionable it looked in the moment. And if you think this kind of inconsistency is new to this league, it's really not. Go back and look at older moments. There's footage from a previous season showing two veteran players openly joking about their reputation for racking up technical fouls. One of them even laughed about being at the top of the list for the entire league that year. And when asked directly whether her technical would be overturned, She said it with total confidence. "Yeah, mine's getting rescinded. I'll be back on the court next game." No stress, no doubt. Like she already knew how it was going to go. That kind of certainty says a lot about how these situations have played out for certain players compared to others. From there, the story stopped being about one clap and one whistle. It spread everywhere: sports shows, social media, debate segments. Some people tried spinning it as Clark attempting to pressure the league, trying to bend the rules in her favor. But that take didn't land with most fans. Because if you actually listened to what she said, she wasn't asking for favors. She wasn't asking to be treated better than anyone else. She was asking for the exact same treatment every other player gets. Nothing more, nothing less. And once fans started digging back through old games, they found more moments that fit this same pattern. Plays where Clark seemed to draw noticeably tighter scrutiny from officials compared to other players in nearly identical situations. One clap, one whistle, one decision that got reversed for someone else but stayed on the books for her. It's such a small detail on paper, but it's opened up one of the biggest fairness debates this league has seen in a long time. So here's the real question hanging over all of this. Is this league actually applying the same rules to everyone wearing a jersey? Or does it depend on who you are, who's got your back, and how loud people are willing to fight for you? That's the debate now, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. If this story caught your attention, don't just scroll past it. Drop your take in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. Hit that like button if you want to see this fully investigated, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update the moment new details come out. This isn't going away. Stay tuned, because there's a lot more to this story still unfolding.